Een prachtige dag, dames en heren, op deze zondag, 74e editie. CAO Rotterdam 2023. Alweer de laatste dag van dit topsportevenement. Met als highlight Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. 41 deelnemers in het parcours, zodanig op hoogte van 1,60 meter. Quinten Maartens en Louis Konings zijn onze top course designers uit Nederland. Rijden voor een totaal prijzengeld van €152.500. Exact om 2:30 zal de eerste start daar zijn. Dan beginnen we met de drievoudig kampioen van Nederland, Leopold van Asten. Maakt ook deel uit van het winnende team in de Longines Jumping Nations Cup afgelopen vrijdag. Maar Nederland weer goud te wisten te winnen. Op een geweldige wijze, wat was het mooi, die Longines Jumping Nations Cup of the Netherlands. Nou, zo mooi gaat het vast ook worden vanmiddag in de Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Leden van de internationale jury hebben met de course designers eerst alles gecontroleerd. Voorzitter van de internationale jury uit Zweden, mevrouw Anna Lundqvist. Foreign judge is de heer Caroline Fugli. En internationale juryleden uit Nederland zijn Laura van der Graaf, Nettie Thijsje, Janneke Petri. Dan zijn de deelnemers inmiddels binnengekomen. Directeur sportief Yves Houtakkers houdt alles nauwlettend in de gaten dat we ook op tijd overal mee kunnen starten. En collega Steven Wild die staat al midden in de piste in de zon. Hij heeft de microfoon mee, zal ongetwijfeld wat uitleg geven zodanig met een van de ruiters over het parcours wat hier vanmiddag gesprongen gaat worden.
Riders walking the course now, ready for this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. The concluding class of the week, major prize money for this class, and with the individual title to be decided. Of course, the team competition earlier on this week saw the Netherlands battle it out with the Ireland to come out at the top spot. How this class will go, we will see. Last year it was a win for Ireland, so maybe a little bit of a battle back then again this time. Daniel Coyle is in the field this time. He was last year's winner, and in once again with a very good shot as he comes in on good form. Riders just walking the track at the moment. Course starts over the VDL group fence down to the hospitality end of the arena, just into the corner there of the two double-decker tents in the colours of the red, white and blue, and riders just striding out the course. If you're new to show jumping, what the riders are doing is actually striding out where they think the horse's stride will land, because basically 4 of a human stride equals a horse's stride, so that's why they're striding around the course, and they're measuring where they would roughly be taking off from. The course designer has laid out a track with various measurements, and that isn't always a perfect distance. So what he's testing with you is your control of your horse to get them on the right spot, to jump the fences, and so a test of skill of horse and rider, of control, of balance and of rhythm. That's what it's all about, and with this Grand Prix, this is where it culminates in the week for the individual riders, and with a massive prize money on this. So starting at the VDL group fence, down to the Dura Vermeer Oxa at fence 2 at 1,52 m, 1,55 m, roughly in width on the second fence of the course in the yellow and green colours. And then from there it's a turn back across to the grandstand side of the arena to the orange colours of the bowls fence at fence 3. A terrific lineup of riders once again. Of course, we've got all of those that were part of the winning Dutch team earlier on this week, including, of course, Harry Smolders up there in the world's top 10. It'd be great to see him in action. But the orange colours are being displayed too on fence 3. And a little plank in here, big gappy fence, and a lot of rider skill here, again, to keep the horse's concentration. White line that just goes across the pole. Not so easy to see, but this is the top level where these horses are used to seeing this. And it is going to be another tough one coming up early on in the course. Fence 3 at approximately 1,60 m in width, and so plenty to get their teeth into there. And then down the arena towards the double-decker hospitality, they'll turn in the corner and come back to the Port of Rotterdam fence. Now this is a wall, you can see lots of colours in this, so you can get your eye on that fence stand, and of course emulating a cargo ship there. and each of the blocks on top can fall off. If they knock a block off the top, well, that is 4 faults. The same all around the course. Have a fence down, that's going to be 4, and that's the way the scoring works, culminating in the 4s as we go through. Several former winners in the field as well. Sana Tyson as well, just walking the track. So one of our former winners of this Grand Prix here this afternoon as well. Related distance from 4 to 5 from the wall down to the Longines Oxford at fence 5, 153, 160, 4-stride distance up there, and for then is again going to be 1 metre 60 spread of the big clocks of the Longines fence. Then comes another difficult line, because we're then down the line to 8, maybe 7 strides into the triple combination of the Longines set of fences. Longines, our presenting sponsor, of course, of the Nations Cup Series and the Grand Prix here this afternoon. In those familiar blue and white colours, 3 fences in a row with 2 strides and 1 stride, 11 metres 60, 8 metres 10, just short of the maximum 160 in the centre. Here, Gulliksen of Norway there, just walking the middle part, and she gives you a good idea of quite how big that is. And from there to the 1 stride on the way out at sea at 152, 160 roughly in terms of the height on the way out of the fences. Geir Gulliksen, Norway, going to grab him very quickly. Jimmy, you just walked the triple combination. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, like always, vertical oxo is difficult. You know, it's very delicate, and you have a little bit forward distance from the wall to the oxo, and then short 7 to the combination. But that's good because it's short there, and then it's normal out. You know, so it will be faulty.
Early part of the course looks pretty testing early on.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not, and even like the first fence, you know, is from history, you know, it's not one of the worst fences to jump.
Well, it's going to be a tough one. Well, you've got your son in this, haven't you? And I think daughter as well. Victoria and Johan Sebastian are here.
Yeah, both of them are jumping here, so we have to sweat 2 times today.
Well, good luck. Enjoy the workout. Hopefully, Geir Gulliksen, multiple Olympian for Norway there, just walking the course to say he's been riding here this week as well. His next generation are in the lineup. Now it's right around the top end of the arena and past the defender in front of the trade village, Stupdorp, and to fence 7, which is the windmill, the traditional Dutch scene with the water tray underneath. Again, subtle colours here with the blue colours. Again, they play with colour because horses see colours differently, and then they walk on a curving line down to the right to fence 8, which is right in the centre. That's the CHIO fence. Little bushes underneath again to draw the eye down off those dart poles in there. Again, rider skill here and training is where this plays out to show these at the very, very top level. Young Harry Allen of Ireland in the field here is not much older brother Bertram, who's a 5-star Grand Prix winning rider, just walking the course with him, coming out for training this time. And then from the CHO fence down to the Aon fence at fence 9 from that point of view. Should be 5 strides there down to a plank. Now, why is the plank different? Well, because on top of the fence there, the plank is on a flat cup, so it's very easy to have that plank off there, very delicate, and again, a test of skill and accuracy all the way around this course. And so that's 9. Back up the arena past the grandstands to 10, to the Bet City NL fence, and then the closing stages coming up with a move back up the arena to fence 11, again just offset from the centre, and that will be our next on course. Again, it's a little bit a shorter pole there as well, with the coloured scene on top, 2 poles in the middle, again just drawing the eye down, and that again looks a little bit bigger with the smaller wings on the side of it, and it is a tricky one that's very delicate indeed. Up then to 12A and B, which are the tulips for the next on course, which is going to be 12A and B. 1 stride in there, 1.59 meters on the way out, just short of the 160, and final fence over where our defender is at the moment, just bringing the last poles onto course at 13 with the yellow poles and the flowers underneath that as they head back towards the in-gate. Big course, tough course for them for this Longines Grand Prix, as you'd expect, around 10 minutes off the start. And you see just a few of those just having a final discussion. Daniel Coyle, just over by the final fence, talking with the World, European and Olympic gold medalist Jeroen Dubbeldam, who's his trainer as well. So they could have another good shot here. They've had a really good run recently, but they're just talking through those final discussions on where they think the best route is here. The time allowed will depend, of course, as well. We'll get that in a few moments' time. But the long and the short, it's a big course. It's a tough course. It's expected for big prize money, and it is the best in the world you're seeing with their skills here today. It's delicate. The faults fall very, very easily indeed. The slightest touch and down they come, and that's 4 faults. The idea is to be inside the time allowed, which we'll confirm for you, and leave all the fences up and be into the jump off and into the battle for the Longines Grand Prix of the city of Rotterdam.
Thank you, Steven. Ja, dames en heren, de spanning loopt verderop. U ziet het strakke gezichten in de piste. Steven Wout vertelde al waar de technische moeilijkheden ingebouwd zijn in het parcours. Nogmaals, Quinten Martens en Louis Konings zijn verantwoordelijk voor de ontwerpen van de parcours hier op het circuit Rotterdam. Editie nummer 74, op weg naar het jubileum volgend jaar. Dan zal het circuit plaatsvinden van 20 tot en met 23 juni. Deelnemers gaande, de eerste deelnemers gaande langzamerhand richting de paarden voor de warming-up. Ligt er allemaal bijzonder fraai bij, dat mag gezegd worden. Prachtige aankleding van het terrein, de topbodem hier. Een bijzonder evenement is en blijft het CHJO Rotterdam met een lange traditie. Daniel Coyle dus winnaar vorig jaar. Uit Ierland, ook zeer goed gereden in de landenwedstrijd, waar Ierland achter Nederland op de tweede plaats eindigde dit jaar. Zo laat ik dus onze landgenoot Leopold van Asten als eerste. En na de nummer 20, na Hilary Scott, is er dan een onderbreking van pakweg 10 minuten. There will be a break after the number 20 of 10 minutes. Then the second part. And then the jump off and the prize giving ceremony.
Good afternoon and welcome to Rotterdam, to the Kralingschabos here out in the woods outside the city that has been the host for many, many years of this prestigious CHIO event, bringing together international team competition in multiple disciplines. We saw the FEI Dressage Nations Cup wrap up yesterday afternoon with that thrilling victory for France. Here, the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup of the Netherlands went the way of the Netherlands for the 3rd time in a row here on Friday. And we wrap up the week of sport here in Kralingschabos with the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. It's a jump-off format class with just over 40 competitors coming through the qualification system over the week of 5-star jumping here. Over the courses set by Quinten Martens and Louis Konings at the venue that most recently hosted the 2019 edition of the European Show Jumping Championships. And a real important venue, a real atmospheric, historic venue. Talking of history, the history of this Grand Prix goes back to the late 1930s. And rattles through some of the most amazing names in the sport over that period. But we have 3 former winners amongst our field here today. In Mark Houtsager of the Netherlands, Sanne Thijssen of the Netherlands, and Daniel Coyle of Ireland. Daniel, who was the victor here just 12 months ago. So most of the riders have been wrapping up their walk. They were led in just after the top of the hour, so they'll have had a first look around the course, then gone back and walked any of the lines they consider quite difficult, and there are quite a few difficult lines out here. I mean, this is the masterpiece of the week, really, for the designers. There are 2 focuses, 2 high points of the week, with the Nations Cup on Friday and then this Sunday individual class. But overall, they're asking 2 quite different questions, you know, to ask the teams to come back and jump 2-meter-60 courses, identical, back-to-back on Friday versus today, when we're very much just looking at this individual competition. The riders have nothing to worry about except themselves. You see that line there from the Chio, and it was coming down towards the red Aeon plank at 8 and 9. That's a tough distance. That VDL fence there that we just saw, that's the first on course. with some of our guests standing by the Longines triple combination at 6A, B and C. This double line close to home, 12A, 12B in the tulip colours. And it is a warm day here, bright sunshine as we've been enjoying in Europe for quite a while. A little bit humid as well with a 40% sort of humidity, 31 degrees Celsius on the temperature. So the weather is going to be as red hot as the sport. Let's have a quick look around the track. As I said, Quinten Martens and Louis Koenig setting the course here. Starting out over this VDL fence in the corner. It's a vertical, it's just over metre 50. And then a slight bending line up to the Oxer at number 2. He starts to really have the reach here because he has that set almost at metre 60 already. Comes around to the orange rails. There's white rails in the centre, orange rail at the top. So just make that quite a difficult reading question because the horse will be looking sort of down and through those white fences. They've got a long swing back then here to the Port of Rotterdam container ship, which is basically a wall. And then this related distance down to the Longines Oxer at 5. He's got two big verticals on the two-stride distance before a metre 60 Oxer coming out of the triple combination at 6A, B and C, and then it is around to the iconic windmill fence just over by the tree here in the Kralingse Bos Arena, and then this slight bending line sets them up. Number 8, metre 60 wide, metre 55 high, it's got those trees underneath, and then this very, very delicate plank coming off the end of the line at 9. Big Oxer up in front of the main tribune at 10. And then again he has them riding this real dogleg, and they've got to be precise now to drop in over the distance at 11 and have this double with the water tray onto the A and the 12A, 12B come up really right for them. Then finally it's around past the main public tribune to jump the last, going towards the in-gate here of the Kralingse Bos. All to be achieved within 76 seconds to be free of the penalty.
On this occasion, particularly proud to present the official watch of the event, a feminine moon phase model for the Longines Master Collection, an emblematic timepiece of the brand for its watchmaking expertise. This refined creation, featuring a moon phase indicator, perfectly combines watchmaking, sophistication and tradition to delight those constantly pursuing precision and excellence.
Going to start off with Dutch Olympian Leopold van Asten. We're going to have Nations Cup riders like Aurélien Leroy, who went so well in the St. Gallen Grand Prix just recently. Harry Smulders, of course, who won that St. Gallen Grand Prix with Urikas. He's got quite an early draw. Loe Joppen with Havel for the home side. We've got Jerome Guéry from the all-conquering Belgian team. Johann Sebastian Gulliksen, Johan and his sister Victoria both riding here. We've got several members of the Tyson family. Mans is the first of 3 we'll see. Mexican competitor Paula Amilibia. Mel Tyson there, coming after former European champion and Olympic gold medalist Kevin Stout. Daniel Coyle, former winner here. Carsten Otto-Nagel for Germany will start to bring us up towards half day with Curacao halfway. Then young US talent Elise Oaken. Hilary Scott will take a short break after Hilary with Oates Milky Way and get back on the way with the likes of Julien Bernal. Nations Cup Grand Prix winner Joop Vreeling for the Netherlands. Joy Lammers follows Abdel Said. Harry Allen and Castellanos. Harry's had a very good week here at the show. Mark Heitzager is one of our former winners. Peter Devos and Nasca will be followed by Keros van Hugeninde and René Lopez Lizarazo.
Fence that is the wall at
Michael van der Vleuten, Michael, who was the recent winner of the Longines Global Championships Grand Prix at Cannes. We've got the very, very successful championship rider Alberto Zorzi. We've got Lars Kirsten for the home side. Sanna Tyson, that former winner here. Victoria Gulliksen, who was on the Norwegian Nations Cup team on Friday. Eric Ten Kat, Willem Greve, again a rider we see a lot on Nations Cup teams for the Netherlands. Niels Brunswiels, multiple 5-star Grand Prix wins on the Niels' belt. And last to go with her Nations Cup horse from Friday, German rider Kendra Clarissa Brinkhoff and In Time. And Kendra is not only riding a horse called In Time, but she is in form. She's had a great week here. When you look at the results of the 5-star classes over the course of the week here in Rotterdam, KCB has been several times on the podium inside the top 5.
The next on course at 12. 13 will be your last on course, going back towards the
There's a
entrance
view
with
now
the
of the line 4 to 5.
and the yellow poles.
You can see
and
how the
with
container ship
timer alert
set up as a
confirmed at
wall
76
fence.
seconds. That's the course
They have
for
a brick out of that wall. It
round
will be 4 faults, the
of
same
this,
as
Longines
having any of the
Rotterdam
rails
Grand
down
Prix.
on course. It's a jump-off format Grand Prix, so a little bit different if you joined us at St Gallen a couple of weeks ago to the format that was used there. This is a straight jump-off, so it is only those in equality of first place who come back for a jump-off, and usually that is the clears. If we have no clears, it could be several one-faulters, it could be several four-faulters if they are the lowest scores and in equality of first place that come back. If we only have one clear, then we don't have a jump-off at all, and it's decided out of the first round. 76 seconds time allowed set by Quentin Martens and Louis Connix. Let's see how that stacks up.
Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. De eerste is binnen voor Nederland. Leopold van Asten. En rijdt voor stoetrijnduizers of videogroep Nino du Routon. Een 10
Videogroup Nino du Routon
van de
for Leopold van Asten. Leopold, who was on the Dutch Nations Cup team that were victorious here in front of Beatrix on Friday.
Leopold van Asten of the Netherlands.
A career winner of the 5-star Grand Prix at 's-Hertogenbosch. He was top 5 recently in the Nations Cup Grand Prix of Bratislava.
This upcoming ride getting more exposure into the 5 stars. First out for the Netherlands, Leopold van Asten, video group Nino du Routon.
So not necessarily Leopold's most experienced horse in the 10-year-old video group Nino du Routon, but Leopold himself tremendously experienced, and he'll be a good trailblazer for everyone else. You can see he's quite sharp. He makes a good move up to number 2, trying to find the inside bending line. You see what I was talking about there with the white middle as well of that orange fence. There's not a lot of room out of that corner. You can see again that he gets up into the corner. He's got the horse where he wants, but then he has to really ride forward. And that forwardness has to carry them all the way to the end of that line, the end of the triple combination. Just lands a little bit short. You could hear him touch that back rail, but he's clean out over the plank at the end of the line. Again, you get that sense that he's having to use the rail of the ring. Really ride deep into every corner, every inch here at the Kralingschabos. So that's good news on the time for everyone else. 76 seconds looks pretty comfortable. I mean, there's no doubt that Leopold was certainly trying. He does just have that unlucky rail close to home. Leopold van Asten and VDL Group Nino du Routon deliver our first score of the day, and it is a 4-faulter for the Dutch Olympian.
Just on the one fence down at 4 faults is 73.58 for the first stand, Leopold van Asten, and that against that time of 76.
So riding his Nations Cup horse from Friday, Croxel de Blagnac, this is Aurélien Leroy.
Rider in very good form, having been top 10.
Aurélien and Croxel were top 10 in the Grand Prix at St Gallen's Nations Cup show in Switzerland just recently. Double clear and part of the winning team and the EEF Nations Cup series at Pailbergen this year as well. Aurélien, who comes to the French top-level Nations Cup show jumping team from a career that started in the world of eventing. He was a junior and young rider for France in eventing and a career winner of the 2-star at Pau in southwest France. He actually had that little bit of a to and fro about whether he'd even be in the second round of St Gallen, because he was originally adjudged to have had a foot, I would not say in the water because that was the question, on the tape, and then on review those faults were taken away, putting him into that top 25% that came back in St. Gallen onto that format. But as I say, today is a straight jump-off format. You can just see the slight difference in experience here as well. Croxel and Olien just looking a lot more comfortable at the pace and with the size of these jumps. Just taking a little bit more in their stride. That doesn't necessarily guarantee a clear. Yeah, and it can swing both ways as well, because having seen Leopold comfortably inside the time, the next rider might come in and just ride within their comfort zone and be caught out by 76. But it's looking okay for Loire at the moment. He jumps through the final double, balances up to this last with the heather as the ground line, and he is also going to come home in just under 74 seconds. But that is clear round number 1 for Aurélien Loire and Croxel de Blagnac. And we'll see whether that means he is going to be top 10 in another 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix in just a couple of weeks.
For France, Aurélien Loire and the 11-year-old Bangano seat will give us the first clear of this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Opnieuw een Nederlands springruiter aan start. Het is Pim Mulder die we mogen begroeten met Victor Z10 daar in paard. Zal van Verdi en uit de Caritano Z-Berry eigenaars en Colin en Freek Hogebal. Pim Mulder op de nummer 3.
One clear with Aurélien on the back of that fantastic run at the combinations in St. Gallen for that similar Nations Cup Grand Prix. Top 3 yesterday in the Championship of Rotterdam.
Pim Mulder and Victor Z are next to go. Pim Mulder, who finished second with another horse, Memphis, in yesterday's Rotterdam Championship 5-star class. Triple combination, still on the 0 score. Just finds the reach out to the back of that final element a little bit too much for them, so they're going to pick up the rail relatively early on in comparison to take Leopold van Asten, who had his on the way home. So is Pim Mulder now going to be able to keep it to just the one down? No, unfortunately, the BetCity.nl up in the very corner where the in-gate was at the European Championships. Just turning into quite a big score now. 1 to go, carrying 12 faults home, and the time looks tight for this pair as well. So it will be time faults that come into play. 12 for jumping and 1 for time for Pim Mulder and Victor Z.
Op 6C, op 10 en op 12 aanbouw in het tijdstrafpunt. Kom uit op 13 totaal.
12 jumping, 1 for time, 76.98. So over that time line of 76, 1 time there. Total 13 for Dutch rider Pim Mulder and Victor Z.
In de Longines MBR Nations Cup was Harry Spal dus 2 keer foutloos. Hij rijdt nu in de Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam met paard Uricas van de Kattenwedde. Zoon van Urico, uit de berry van de Halstaarder, tophengst Cassini.
Harry Smulders next to go, ranked inside the world's top 10. Harry and Uricas won the Nations Cup Grand Prix of St. Gallen in recent weeks. Harry was double clear with Monaco in the Nations Cup here on Friday to deliver victory for the Netherlands. Harry's actually never won this home Grand Prix, but on Uricas he's got a very good chance. The only problem being that in this jump-off format, they will come back in the order in which they qualify. So if he was to be our second clear and guarantee us a jump-off, and we had 4 or 5 more clears, so we ended up with a jump-off field of 7, he would be second of those 7. So he would really have to do something quite exceptional to stop some of the others using the information from his round and knowing what they had to do and getting in front. This early first round draw slightly counts against him. But the one advantage he has is that if he does qualify for the jump off, he is not first to go. See how light and delicate they've left that Aeon jump as well, with the blank at the top. Seems to be on a good line there, approach to number 11. There we are, it is clear round number 2. Ulrikas van der Kattenvenen and Harry Smulders. We say that Koska de Blagnac and Arlene Leroy were part of that second round in St. Gallen just a couple of short weeks ago. This pair were the winners of that Grand Prix. So again, they would like to see if they can have lightning strike twice for them in terms of these Grand Prix at the prestigious Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup shows.
Frankrijk nu aanzetten zijn bij de vijfde combinatie.
On the racing team for the
French team here on Friday, also on the French team at St. Gallen with this horse Brazil de Mézel.
Placed here last year as well. Top 3 in Italy in the Grand Prix of Arezzo.
Part of the French team that were the winners of the Nations Cup this spring at Palebergen on the EF series. This horse and rider were top 10 in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Cannes last summer. We're on the podium in the French National Championships as well. We're a long way off that at number 2. They just need to get their messaging, their communication sorted out for some of the questions to be answered on this track. This is such a busy corner, yeah. You could see the horse wasn't focused, wasn't with him. So he's going to be on 8 faults because they will count that as a refusal at the Longines Oxen now as well. I think he's just going to take another jump. All the other way. Yeah, just heads back to the VDL the first. And elects to retire, François-Xavier Boudon.
De titel vandaag niet voor François-Xavier Boudin. Opgave voor de deelnemer uit Frankrijk, de Rotterdamse Le Cavalier Abandon. In de sport hersteld, dames en heren. We hebben een barrage met Aurélien Leroy uit Frankrijk en voor Nederland in de barrage Harry Smulders. Gaan we zo dadelijk naar Louis Joppen en de havel van de Bosakker zet.
Louis Joppen is the next to go. Louis, another for the Netherlands.
Zijn zoon van Hosdo uit de winning van de wereldbeker.
Havel van de Wolfsakker.
Hier is Louis Joppen.
Representing the nation on 2 occasions this season already in Nations Cup in St. Gallen and in Germany in Mannheim. Recent winner in Gisteren again comes in on good form for Louis Joppen of the Netherlands.
And this horse Havel were top 5 in the Grand Prix, the indoor Grand Prix at Jumping Amsterdam, the World Cup qualifier in January. Nations Cup teams this spring at Mannheim, where the Netherlands were the winners, and also on the top tier Nations Cup team for Jos Lansik's side at St. Gallen just a couple of weeks ago in Switzerland with this horse Havel. Obviously just a little bit of a pause whilst the ring crew get the container ship wall reset. And there we are, everything in place. The jury give the tone. And a tough start. It's a long way to go around this track now, having brought the first fence with you. Again, I know I've said it quite a few times, but you just really get this sense of them having to ride deep into the corners and use the rails of this ring to try and find the best possible line to these jumps. But again, if you do that as well, and you're not pushing, riding at the front, on the front foot all the way around, you could come up against that 76 seconds time allowed. We're starting to see that idea of putting the trees in the midst of an oxen more and more. What I think is quite interesting here with the geofence is that the rails themselves are that sort of solid matte green. It's jumping well so far on that line down to the plank. He just puts himself a little bit to the left of the B element of the double to just find the line he wants. Back out to the last 75.13. So again, 76 seconds time allowed. It's just worth considering that. But it is, unfortunately for them, just the very, very first on course down will keep them out of the jump off. Still 2 clears at the moment.
Just on the floor at 75.13, and it is 1 down for Joppen and Van van der Sakazet.
Jerome Geri, België aan start, rijdt Floris T. en gevangen bij Team Nijhoff in Nederland. Zijn 13-jarige hengst van de Quality Time T en Vancouver.
Belgian Olympic medalist Jerome Geri.
At the World Championships, European team bronze here in Rotterdam back in 2019.
Floris T.N. is the rider. It's the ride for the competitor who's taken victory in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix on several occasions. Individual silver medalist at last year's World Championships. Jerome, of course, part of the Belgian team here on Friday afternoon in the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup. Jerome is just riding some of the tighter lines. He's pushing everywhere. He knew he was just a little bit too much on the front foot coming to that triple combination. You could see him sit up and balance, and he got the 3 parts of it beautifully here with Floris. So far, you'd say they've got it all together. They deserve to be in the jump-off jumping like this. Full meter 60. You can see him touch it. It rolls right to the edge of those shallow cups, but it stays. It's caught out at the end of the line, unfortunately. So it is going to be 4 faults. 73-79. I mean, there's not much in it, but it is one of our faster rounds. We've seen 73s, 74s, 75s. Jerome Geri, unfortunately, with the late 4 faults, will have to sit out the rest of the afternoon here in Rotterdam.
Just the second part of the tulip double. It's 4 at 73-79 into falls so far for Jerome Geri and Floris T.N.
Uit Noorwegen, Johan Sebastian Gulliksen and Equin America. It's me the soul.
Johan Sebastian Gulliksen's our next to go. Nations Cup rider for Norway here the last 2 years running in Rotterdam. It was his first senior championships when he rode here in Rotterdam at the Europeans in 2019 as well. And Johan here with Equine America, It's Me the Soul, the horse that gave him the top 5 result in the World Cup qualifier at Live Oak in Ocala, Florida this spring, when he spent a few weeks over jumping the Florida circuit, particularly, of course, at Wellington International. Rides on the team on Friday and in this Grand Prix alongside his sister Victoria. Their father, Olympian for Norway, Geir Gulliksen, here as well with the trainer's role. Found himself on quite an inside line there, had to just jink out and balance around some of the wide decoration at the foot of the jump they were turning around. Just came into that flat all the way. He was a little bit flat at the first vertical. It's a very, very delicate question, double of verticals as the AB element of the triple combination, and with the horse not really springing in the jump, it was always going to be a little bit tough. As soon as he laid a toe on the first one, I think Johan Sebastian knew he was in trouble. Even with a 2-stride distance, there's not a lot you can do to just try and balance the horse back, get that bounce and jump back into the shape the horse is making. He does a little bit the same down that distance, just becoming a little bit on the forehand and heavy in the hand. Looks like front rail off the last as well. Yep, 12 jumping faults for Johann Sebastian Gulliksen and Equine America. It's needless so.
Daarmee 12 slagpunten en de tijd 74 seconden rond voor Johann Sebastian Gulliksen uit Noorwegen.
Total of 12 and 74 seconds exactly for the Norwegian Johann Sebastian Gulliksen, finishing into 6th place so far.
Nou, uit Duitsland, het is Hans-Dieter Dreyer. Ze werden derde in de Longines Nations Cup afgelopen vrijdag. Hans-Dieter rijdt Westmaal de Coty, een Franse van de ruim 14 jaar van de Olympisch kampioen. Maar dat bent nu roeien.
Fantastic rider and horse
Hans-Dieter Dreyer,
second in the
Westmaal de Coty.
German Grand Prix a few weeks ago. On to the team 2 in Switzerland in St. Gallen and winner in France in Cannes.
Hans-Dieter on the Nations Cup team here on Friday. Recently second to Mark Hautsager, in fact, in the Wiesbaden Pfingstturnier Grand Prix in Germany. Won quite a few five-star Grand Prix in his career, as you could imagine. 3 times on the Winter World Cup circuit. He's won the five-star Longines Grand Prix, Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix at Chantilly. And he's also a career winner of the five-star Nations Cup Grand Prix at St. Gallen. Westmaal can kind of do it all, but what's interesting about this horse is the number of successes he's had in Table A speed classes. So if Hansi goes clear and becomes our 3rd qualifier for the jump-off, he's a real threat because he is a naturally very, very fast rider. This is a naturally very fast horse. You can see there, I mean, he's coming on such an inside line back to that BetCity.nl fence, having the horse on the outside bend, dropping in through the left shoulder, and yet they still have the ability to do it. And look at this time, 70.88 in the first round for Hans-Dieter Dreyer and Westmaal de Coty. It's clear round number 3, and it's a real threat to the top of the podium here. No matter how many clears we have, no matter how many follow him in that jump-off, if they are clear in the jump-off, this could easily be the pair that they have to beat time-wise.
Zero score with Westmaal de Coty joins top lineup already of Harry Smollers and Julien Leroy of France.
Jongen uit Nederland, want Stijns is binnen. Dit jaar won hij nog de bronzen medaille bij de jongwaarders op het Nederlands kampioenschap. Hij rijdt vandaag de 11-jarige Henno, zoon van Hengste Alano uit de mening van Bedrijven.
Young rider already making waves into the senior ranks as well, 20 years of age, and in the last month,
just 21-year-old Mans Tyson.
Mans Tyson.
Hello. Rode on the Senior Nations Cup team for the Netherlands at the EF Series at Bratislava at the beginning of the month. Still eligible for young riders, was riding at the Youth Nations Cup show at De Volden here in the Netherlands at the very beginning of the month as well. Man's one of 3 members of the Tyson family riding in this Rotterdam Grand Prix. Older sister Sanna, a former champion as well, taking victory 2 years ago. It's interesting what the designers have done with that Longines Oxer as well, because it is very, very wide, and you see the way that Mans's answer to that was to really ride forward at it and then hope that he could get the horse back a little bit like Jerome Gary a few ago, but unfortunately the horse just didn't come back quite enough, and you end up then with that flattening jump, that difficult to reach back rail coming out of the triple combination. just taps that, what has been influential double, but it stays. And he's going to just catch the time, 74.87, 1.15 seconds inside for Mans Tyson and Hello. So just that single rail, 4 faults. And the time becomes important for those who don't make it through to the jump-off. If you're not clear, you are ranked then according to your faults of time in this first round.
Finishing on just forward, 74.87 into 6th place so far, with just that one fence for Mans Tyson on the Netherlands, 20-year-old with Hello.
Dan uit Mexico, Paola Abilivia met Gaudi. Gaudi is inmiddels 17 jaar. Heel veel ervaring opgedaan. Deze zoon van Orlando zitten uit de merrie van Calvaro.
So rider now who represents Mexico, having previously been a championship rider for Spain, being Spanish national champion, continental championship rider for Spain as well. Paula, married to Mexican Nations Cup team rider Fede Fernandez. And, they divide their competition year between a base at Mexico City and a base here in Europe, in Belgium. Paula, great supporter of Rotterdam. She rode the 5-star tour here last year as well. Rode on the Mexican team at the EEF Nations Cup Series 12 months ago in Madrid. Gaudi unfortunately has the A element of the triple combination down.
Just on forward,
so another one with the just 4 fault total in this first round of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam for 2023. Paula goes into 6th place there. 74 seconds just over on the clock. So 3 clear rounds, Aurélien Leroy, Harry Smulders, Hans-Dieter Dreyer so far.
He was part of the team for Denmark in the recent Nations Cup in Bratislava, and on Danish soil as well in Ugahan, finishing top 3 there. Finished well into the Grand Prix.
So Kasper Hansen for Denmark, Nations Cup rider here on Friday. Kasper with Katrine Lund's satisfaction. Kasper, former youth medalist for the Danes. Riding some Nations Cups already this year at the likes of Bratislava and at home on Danish soil in Ugahan. So the first to sort of take the wall as they go, we saw Francois Boudon of France demolish the wall, the cargo ship, and then elect to retire. But our Danish rider now suddenly, with the wall and some down the triple combination and now the windmill, finds himself on 16 faults. Time's okay, but it is those rails down, 5 of them unfortunately for Kasper Hansen and Katrine Lund's satisfaction. So that is a 24th round. It goes into our current 11th position.
Finished with a score of 20 at 75-28 there for Danish rider Kasper Hansen and Katrine Lund's satisfaction. Still 3 clears.
zien binnenkomen de voormalige Europees kampioen Kevin Stones uit Frankrijk met Cornets Velvet RS.
The 2009 European champion of our sport, Kevin Stout. Kevin, gone on since then, been Olympic team gold medalist at Rio, so many other individual and team accolades with France. He was on the Nations Cup here on Friday for France. Rides Cornets Velvet RS, a Cornet Obolensky horse in today's Longines Grand Prix.
Several top three finishes in
Kevin just making this turn that he looked at before the bell, up deep in the corner, back to the container ship, and it hasn't caused a lot of problems on paper, but I think still the riders are coming out. They will have looked at that turn initially, they will have talked about that turn, and they will have seen that the turn rides tough. Kevin a little bit left of centre over the windmill. So that is the line, the space that he has chosen for his horse down here to the related distance that comes out over the plank. You just got the sense there that he had to go a little bit extra on the turn. The horse hadn't finished the turn the way Kevin wanted it. Nearly got him at the vertical into the line. It kind of did get him at the double on the way out. So unfortunately, it's going to be 4 faults for Cornets Velvet and Kevin Stout. 73.34. He goes fourth. He's the fastest 4-faulter at the moment.
Just on 4 and into fourth place so far at 73.34. Fastest of the 4-faulters. So to fourth spot for this point for France's Kevin Stout.
Wel, Thijs was vorig jaar nog de Nederlandse kampioen met de jongwaarders aan paard Imodo, straks en vandaag, en die is 10 jaar. Imodo is een zoon van de ex-Quasimodo Z en dan de KWPN-topper Kortland in afstamming.
And a very good young rider coming through, the 22-year-old Mel Tyson next, part of the team last
Mel Tyson is next to go.
The Europeans in
Mel
Spain, where the team finished into 5th spot.
Was at the European Youth Championships last year for young riders at Olivar in Spain. 6th youth appearance for the Netherlands at Youth Championships, and young rider at the top tier of the sport, already ranked comfortably inside the world's top 250. Imodo by Quasimodo for Mel Tyson for the Netherlands. Younger brother Mans already home and hosed on just the 4 faults. You can hear her going to the voice, just wasn't getting the reach she wanted, the spot she wanted through that triple combination line. I thought she might be in a little bit of trouble in that bend back to the vertical, because the horse just goes in a very, very long outline all the way. They do have a second down coming through the tulip double. They'll have the back rail off the last as well to make it 12, unfortunately, Mel Tyson and Imodo.
De laatste is 13 in het parcoursfout, eveneens op de driesprong en de dubbel. Eindresultaat 12 standpunten en de eindtijd 73,51.
Last fence dropping in his 3 down a course, total of 12 at 73.51 into 10th place for Mel Tyson and Imodo.
Altijd die 3 namen voor de barrage van deze Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Met de winnaar van de grote prijs vorig jaar in de piste. De eerste ruiter Daniel Coyle. Zijn paard Legacy is er nog dan Chippendale Zet en de mening van de Grand Prix-hengst Bob Ami.
The defending champion of this Rotterdam Grand Prix, the world number 19 with Ariel Grange's Legacy this time, a winner with Carlisle last year, and a winner already this week in the ECT prize. Daniel
Coyle comes forward. Daniel, who was on that Nations Cup team on Friday for Ireland, that finished in a very good second place with Ariel Grange and his own Legacy. Daniel, who took victory in this 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix 12 months ago. As with Oak Grove's Carlisle, he was also top 10 in the Dublin Longines Grand Prix with that horse. But that was not actually his first 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix victory. That came at Thunderbird in Canada a few years ago. He's also been multiple times winner of Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifiers in North America as well. Rider for Ireland at last summer's World Championships at Herning in Denmark too. Just 3 qualified so far for the jump-off here in Rotterdam. It's interesting in the triple combination as well how the designers have just sort of mixed it up with the rails. They have a choice of the navy blue and the white Longines rails, and actually they've built the middle vertical out of the white rails. Time should be all right. Just the last question to answer, and he is through. He's clear round number 4, and last year's champion is back to try and take victory in this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam once again. Daniel Coyle and Legacy are clear.
Daniel Coyle to defend his title here in Rotterdam as he goes clear with that Legacy with his World Championship and European Championship rider. Very good shot at defending that title as one of 4 clears so far. Ireland, Germany, Netherlands and France so far represented.
En misschien komt Italië daarbij. Dit is Lorenzo Di Luca met de Stabon Carlsen, de 15-jarige nakomeling van Coloriet. Lorenzo Di Luca, Italië, nummer 17 in de Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Lorenzo Di Luca next to go with Neil and Heidi Moffat at Podin Farms. Carlsen 8-6.
In France, Saint-Tropez with this horse. Lorenzo Di Luca with the Podin Farms.
Very good result in Saint-Tropez with this horse Carlsen, but Lorenzo, prodigious successes on the Longines Global Champions Tour Series and a career winner and podium finisher of the Longines Grand Prix of Ireland at Dublin. Shame you heard it. Late falling rail. Bit of that plank. A full meter 60. This is meter 60 as well. It goes as well. You say just looking around the specifications, of course, it's interesting how actually the designer pair, they haven't used every single option to go for the absolute maximum, but they're still getting a very, very good result here today. Carlsen and Lorenzo Di Luca have the last stand as well. It's 12 jumping faults.
9, 11 and 13 down, a total of 12 in the end, 74-48 for Italy's Lorenzo Di Luca and Carlsen.
Duitser uit Karsten Otto Nagel nu met GK Curaçao. Holsteiner Schimmel van Calanimo en Lerano. Paard heeft een leeftijd van de 12 jaar.
Tremendously successful rider and has been a world championship.
Karsten Otto Nagel is our next to go. Karsten, a individual and team medalist at the World Equestrian Games in 2010.
Karsten Otto Nagel, foot champion.
Only having been that team rider back in 2010, 2011, the World Games, the European Championships in Madrid. Then it was Herning in 2013, his last championship appearance, but it's very rarely that Karsten Otto Nagel was on the German team back in those days with the great Corradina. He didn't come home with a team medal, and often for Karsten himself, an individual medal. Say an individual at Windsor in the Europeans, an individual at Madrid in the Europeans, an individual medal at Herning, or sorry, it's a team medal at Herning in the Europeans. And GK Curaçao. Karsten's most recent international appearance was at Longines Optimum, the German National Championship show, and he is next going to appear in the jump-off here of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. He gives us clear round number 5 here this afternoon at the Kralingse Bos, and that's our first through for Germany. Sorry, I tell a lie, Hans-Dieter Dreyer qualified, so 5 qualifiers, 4 different nations.
Very good round for one of the world's best. Germany's Karsten Otto Nagel there, and back at the top with GK Curaçao to give us a clear round number 5.
Stel je voor aan Alice Auken. Ze komt uit Amerika, uit Velvera. Dat is KWPN, Koninklijk Warmbloedpaardenstand in Nederland. Ze is 12 jaar verlocht van Quality Time, TN.
Alice Auken is our next to go with Gelvera.
Alice Auken from Charlotte, North Carolina, and based over here in Europe for the season, and has already added a win in Norway for the Grand Prix there as part of the Nations Cup, and onto their top team for the US in Denmark this season as well. Alice Auken of the USA.
Alice and Gelvera were the winners of the Nations Cup Grand Prix recently on the EF Series at Drammen. They've ridden a few of the EF Nations Cups under the guidance of Ann Kaczynski. So Alice, native of North Carolina, is going to be based here in Europe for this summer. We've been talking a lot about how the Longines EEF Nations Cup Series, sort of metre 45, metre 50 Nations Cups, and they're no longer a Div 2, so actually all of the nations can participate, whereas previously Div 2, like Div 1, was closed to invitations and choices by Nations Cups teams. So if you're a team trying to move back into Div 1, trying to develop your next generation of riders, EEF Series is perfect for that. If you're Ireland or the United States of America or Germany, the Netherlands, you can give younger riders, new horse and rider combinations, the opportunity to ride under that same team pressure. And we really are seeing the dividends, because I think it's really helped Italy come back right to the very, very top tier. We've seen a lot more riders come through as strength and depth for their nations as well. Alice Auken has a just the 4, and in the company she's keeping, she shouldn't be too disappointed with that. 75.92 will be one of the slower 4s at the moment. It goes into 12th place. We've got 5 clear rounds so far.
Takes them into 12th place so far for US rider Alice Auken and Gelvera.
Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam voor Nederland, Kevin Jochems en Casillas van der Hedde. Schimmel is 11 jaar, Cazal en Colorado de afstamming. Kevin Jochems, die vorig jaar tweede werd in de grote prijs.
second here last year and gets to take another shot potentially as Daniel Coyle again into that jump.
Well, Daniel Coyle is already through to the jump off. Here's the rider who stood second to him 12 months ago, Kevin Jochems. Kevin with Casillas van der Helle.
Are next to go for the Netherlands.
Kevin, who won the Longines Nations Cup Grand Prix of Hickstead and Dublin almost back-to-back in 2018. Won World Cup in recent seasons as well at Oslo. That second place finish here last year would also have been a recent highlight, but he'd love to go one better. Well, last year's head-to-head is on again. Kevin Jochems and Daniel Coyle both qualified for the jump-off. Now, Kevin actually came out of order. He should have come between Hans Siegendreher and Daniel Coyle, and he will go back to that spot. So he will actually be the fourth we see back for the jump-off. Daniel Coyle will be fifth, and Carsten Otternagel will be the sixth of what is now 6 clear rounds. Kevin was just allowed to drop down because he needed a shoe put back on his horse by the farrier, but because they will go back to drawn order.
Well placed in Hamburg, Hilary Scott of Australia, Oaks Milky Way.
And the last to go then before a ground maintenance break is going to be Hilary Scott, Hilary for Australia with Oaks Milky Way. Hilary and Oaks Milky Way on the Australian team last year at the World Championships in Herning. That's that big Longines oxer down across the ring before the triple combination. She's been based up in Europe since 2012 with her Oaks Sport Horse breeding operation out of the Netherlands. It's just going to have part of that double down close to home as well. 8 faults for our last to go before this short break. So 6 qualify out of the first half of the draw for the jump off to come here in the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam, but we've still got quite a few important horse and rider combinations to see coming up, including former winners like Mark Houtsager, Sanne Tyson.
Australian representative into our Longines Rotterdam Grand Prix. So far it is 6 into the jump off. We've got France, Ollie Loire, we've got Harry Smolness of the Netherlands, Hans Dieter Dreher of Germany.
As I say, that takes us up to a short break. The first round here in Rotterdam in the Kralingse Bos not yet done. We've got about 20 more competitors to see here to know the full size of the jump off that will wrap up this leg of the Grand Prix series of the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup series. But Aurélien Loire was was our first qualifier for France, followed then by the world number 8, Harry Smulders of the Netherlands. Hans-Dieter Dreyer, then he gave us our third for Germany. Our fourth to come back for the jump-off will be Kevin Jochems of the Netherlands. Fifth back will be Daniel Coyle, last year's champion with Legacy this year. And Carsten Otto Nagel will be the 6th of 6 coming back as things currently stand. But plenty more who could yet join them. A lot more talent to come here in Rotterdam.
Kortje mededeling, dames en heren, is een pinpas gevonden. Geen staat erop. De pinpas is afgedaan bij brasserie van mijn zoon van de Boer. Pinpas met de naam Genen. Als u kunt identificeren, kunt u daar weer afhalen. Dank u wel. De sport in de Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. En op dit moment 6 staan we voor de buitenrugje. Gaan ze dadelijk weer aan het tweede gedeelte.
Just a few moments away from resuming with the second half of this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Still with a host of those to come, including several former winners in the field, including Standard Tyson, who goes late in the order. Mark Hansager, former winner too, goes 27th of our lineup of 41 in total. And at this stage, with 6 clears, that includes the defending champion Daniel Coyle of Ireland, who gave us the 4th clear of the list so far. Kevin Jokims, the man who was 2nd last year, currently in 6th. So back we go.
So welcome back to Rotterdam, where we are midway through the first round of jumping of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam for 2023. 6 clears so far. Aurélien Leroy of France, who we saw go so well in the Grand Prix at St. Gallen. Harry Smulders at Urikas van de Kattenwennen, the world number 8, who won that Grand Prix. The 3rd clear came from Hans-Dieter Dreyer of Germany with Westmaal de Coty. The 4th clear to come back to us in the jump-off will be Kevin Jokims of the Netherlands and Casidas van der Helle. He was, of course, 2nd here last year with Cornered Boy. Daniel Coyle, last year's winner with Legacy, will be our 5th back, and 6th back will be another for Germany, Carsten Otternagel and GK Curaçao. Julien Gonin for France is going to get us back underway with Valu de Lys. Valu and Julien rode the top-tier Nations Cup last year at Sopot in Poland, and have been 5-star Grand Prix winners together at Grimaud last summer as well, just outside Saint-Tropez. Not the first to have the first down, as we say, it's an awfully long way to go around this big track set by Quentin Martens and Louis Connix. That line there down to the big Longines Oxer seems to really be opening them up, and then the riders really feel they have to sit back and balance coming into that triple combination line. It is where Julien picks up his 2nd rail of the round. The Oxer on the out. This line here from the dark green Chia rails down to the very, very light, delicate plank, meter 60 plank, has ridden well so far. The plank has gone, I think, just the one time. This, though, has been amongst the trickiest lines on course. You see Julien there. Just felt the horse dropping behind the leg. Clears out over the last, so just the 2 fences down, 1 mid-round and the very first on course down for Julien Gonin and Valu de Lys.
Total of 8 at 74.11. 2 down for Julien Gaudin of France and Italy.
Voor Nederland Reading in de kleuren van de SF Question rijdt hij Fiumicino van de Kane van Nijssel van de Grand Prix van de Marcozeni Blue en daarachter Nabat de Rêve.
So another one of the Dutch Nations Cup heroes from Friday afternoon. You're Vreeling. You're now with SF Equestrians Fiumicino van de Kalavalai.
Back in 2014 as well. You're Vreeling now for the Netherlands, the world number 17 with Fiumicino.
You're with this other top horse, Long John Silver, was top 5 in recent weeks in both the Nations Cup Grand Prix of Rome, Piazza di Siena and St. Gallen in Switzerland. Fiumicino, a little bit like Hans-Dieter Dreher's horse, is a naturally very fast horse. So again, if Ure becomes a jump-off contender here, he could very much be a hot ticket to try and take victory. Answer all the questions correctly first, and he's doing a good job through the triple combination in good style. You might say, having seen Long John Silver be the horse that went so well in the Grand Prix at Rome on a big grass ring, St. Gallen in a big grass ring, that Fiumicino might be his sort of his artificial surface, his sand school horse, but he's got great results out on the grass as well. He's a good all-rounder, and he proves his talent here this afternoon with a clear, and it's going to be the 7th to come back to us here in Rotterdam, and it's going to be another one for the Netherlands as well. 2 of their highest ranked riders on the World Rider Rankings, and 2 members of their Nations Cup winning team on Friday will come back for the jump-off as Ure Vreeling joins Harry Smulders on the start list for the short course to come.
Gaan we met Abdel Said aankomend voor België. Abdel start op Bama van Ostaaien. Dat is Belgisch warmbloed van de Enste, Etonon VDL en Jacobo Partis, 9 jaar.
2 teammates of that winning Dutch team already into that jump off.
Abdel Said is our next to go. Belgian rider Abdel with his own AS Training's Obama van Ostaaien. This horse Obama actually jumped with Abdel last week up in Stockholm, in the Olympic Stadium.
With wins into Riyadh in Saudi Arabia too. Abdel Said and the 9-year-old Obama.
Abdel, who's been a top-level championship rider previously for Egypt. Top 10 in the Nations Cup Grand Prix at the 5-star level in Abu Dhabi this spring. You just saw there, it was a good shot to just see how he kind of already started the bend, introduced the bend he wanted to get him from 1 to 2 on his final approach to the VDL at number 1. Samuel Hutton out of Abdel's stables was unlucky to miss the jump-off last night in Paris in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. Just a couple of time penalties for him there. Abdel's operation with a lot of horses. Abdel always has really nice horses to ride for himself, but he's called AS Trading, and he moves them along for sure as well. Just looking so locked on really for the clear round. It's just landed a little bit steep coming in over the back rail of the A element of that double, so Abdel Said's going to be another one on 4. He goes into 9th place.
Finishing on 4 at 73.53 into 9th place so far, and 1 down for Abdel Said and Obama.
So behind our 7 clear rounds, Kevin Stout is still the fastest full faulter in 8th position.
7 clears so far in this Longines Rotterdam Grand Prix. France with Henri Leroy, Harry Smolderton for the Netherlands, Daniel Coyle of Ireland, and also in the Netherlands, Kevin Jokims and Jörg Wieling. Next, the Dutch riders with Joy Lammers, the 9-year-old Grace Kelly.
Joy Lammers is our next to go, the Dutch rider with a great reputation for producing horses up successfully to the World Young Horse Championships at Lanarken. Really rides this 9-year-old by Casal, Grace Kelly, very positively and strongly at number 2, just really wanting to get going. Actually may have just picked up there those orange rails as well at the Pearls fence early on the course. They have that white candy stripe down them as well. We heard the clunk on the back rail coming out of the triple combination, but no faults recorded against them. Now those are the first problems of the day at the Chia Rotterdam fence. Will get picked up by the Tulip double as well on the way home. And Joy Lammers and the 9-year-old Casal-bred Grace Kelly will end up on that total of 8.
Kelly, 2 springfouten, totaalscore staat op 8:73 seconden rond.
Finishing on a score of 8 and 73 seconds exactly. It's in there for Joy Lammers of the Netherlands and Grace Kelly.
Harry Allen, jonge talent uit Ierland, is binnen met Calculatus. Paard is eveneens 9 jaar. Het is een Westfalen van Cacciacini en Contenders.
Harry
Allen's our next to go. Harry's been having a good show with us here, and with this horse, Calculatus, Cacciacini, the former individual pony champion, just like older brother
in 2023. Harry Allen and
Bertram.
Calculatus for Ireland.
Still riding youth championships last year at the Young Riders when he took the individual bronze. Team silvers and team bronzes in the interim as well at juniors and Young Riders for Harry. Calculatus and Harry third in the Nations Cup Grand Prix at Bratislava on that EEF Nations Cup series. Part of the winning Nations Cup team as well. Brother Bertram with him today, just walking the course, giving a bit of advice, a bit of coaching, but Harry knows the job, that's for sure. So interesting that we've had no problems on that fence the whole first half of the draw, and now 2 in a row have had the matte green front rail of the Chio Oxa. That vertical hasn't gone too often, but often it has been tapped before a part of the double goes down. So Harry and Calculatus, unfortunately, it is going to be 8 faults. High hopes, I know, for that pair here today, having had a good show and coming here off the back of good form as well at Bratislava. But just not quite to be, unfortunately.
Finished on a score of 8 at 73.06 in there for Harry Allen, this time with the young Irishman of Calculatus.
Deelnemer uit Brazilië. U gaat kijken naar de rit van Victor Mariano Luminanti met idente 10 jaar groot van Eldorado van de seizoen en daarmee dus R en daarmee KWPN.
On the Brazilian team in Morocco last year in the Rabat, and second in the Houston Grand Prix in the last 2 weeks as well. Victor Luminati of Brazil.
So, sole Brazilian rider in the field, Victor Mariano Illuminati and Idete by Eldorado van der Zeshuk. Youth Championship medalist previously for Brazil. We've seen him jumping a few spring seasons in Wellington, Florida as well. Brazilian rider going to be another one to come home with four. The 76 seconds time allowed has not been too influential today. He is just over half a second inside it himself.
Dus nog tweede in de grote prijs in gisteren van het seizoen Twente. Vandaag 4 strafpunten voor de Braziliaanse Victor Mariano Illuminati in 75-48.
Just one down on the floor in 75-48 for Victor Illuminati of Brazil, and Idete still the 7 clears so far.
So just one clear since we came back to the action, bringing us up to a total of 7. Can we get another former winner through? 3 former winners. We've seen one so far, and he has qualified for the jump-off. Here is the next of them, Mark Houtsager. Mark with Sterhof's Dante. Sterhof's Dante with the NOP suffix, meaning that the horse has been confirmed to stay in Dutch ownership through the next Olympic cycle.
Sterhof's Dante, NOP.
Dante and Mark were the winners this year of the Pfingstturnier Grand Prix at Wiesbaden. Mark was also top 10 in the Grand Prix of 's-Hertogenbosch indoors with another horse, Holy Moly. It was back in 2012 that he won here at the Kralingse Bos in Rotterdam. The same year that he was part of the silver medal winning Dutch team at the London Olympic Games. Dante was his Tokyo horse. And fewer problems than most at the big ox are coming down to the triple combination. Dante also has the middle part of the triple, and it seems just like from the specifications, like it peaks a little bit. That double of verticals goes up to meter 60 of first element between meter 55, meter 60. I think it's coming in officially at 158. Actually, if you sort of needed to feel, because we're not seeing huge scores, we're not seeing horses really struggling with this track, which is great. It's such a horse-friendly design from Martens and Konings, but to see a horse and rider combination like Houtsager and Dante here coming around for 3 down, 12 jumping falls, does just tell you that those 7 who've made it through to the jump-off, they've worked hard for it, they have delivered real quality jumping.
It is 12, the total then 75-02 Dutch rider Mark Houtsager, Sterhof's Dante en Opi.
Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. We gaan naar Karsbonhof, opnieuw een Nederlander dus aan start met de goedgekeurde hengsten Hernandez TN. Weer een van de hengsten van team Nijhoff. Dus 11 jaar in paard, Canan de Voltaire is de vader en dan nummer Uno, de zoon van Libero Haan.
On a very good run it shows, just back from La Baule in France, and
rider who's just aged out of the under-25 era of his career.
Last year as well, Karsbonhof now of the Netherlands, Hernandez TN.
Team Nijhoff owned horse Hernandez TN. Hernandez, 11-year-old by Cannon. Hernandez was Kers's horse for the Grand Prix at the La Baule Nations Cup show just recently. He was on the Dutch Nations Cup team there as well. going well. You can see that. The experience already under their belt at the 5-star CSIO level this spring. And just 1 fence away from me, the third Dutch rider in the Rotterdam Grand Prix jump-off. And he will be. Keers, Bonhoff and Hernandez TN will be clear round number 8. Only the second since the halfway point of jumping here in Rotterdam. And that is another one for the Netherlands safely through. And of course, of the 8 qualified, Keers will jump 8th over that short course. A lovely round of jumping there from Keers Bonhoff for the Netherlands and Hernandez TN.
With the 11-0 there with Keers Bonhoff.
Achternummers foutloos. Wie gaat daar nog bij komen? Misschien wel Pieter de Vos uit België met NASCAR van Siamshof. Dat is Belgisch warmbloed van Emilion en Voltaire.
Pieter de Vos, part of the team that won gold here at the European Championships in 2019. Since
Pieter de Vos rode Nations Cup here on Friday with this horse. This is NASCAR van Siamshof for the Belgian Olympian, who was part of the Belgian team that won the European gold here in Rotterdam in 2019.
Pieter de Vos, NASCAR.
Last weekend with Mons Tupi de la Roque, he was top 5 in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix series in Stockholm. He was a winner on that series last summer in London as well with the same mare Tupi. If you only watch this round and the round before, you would say, why isn't everyone clear? Because cars all the way around. Peter so far absolutely foot perfect over this track. The last is not to be discounted, but this line here has just been the downfall of some, and unfortunately NASCAR just taps the A rail behind, taking the back rail with them, so it's 4 faults, 75-1-0, one of our slower fours as well for Pieter de Vos and NASCAR van Siamshof. So we end up still with just 8 coming back to us, and about 10 more to see here in the first round.
Back bar at 12 drops, it is just 1 down for a very exciting upcoming combination in the 5-star Grand Prix. 75-10 is the time. Pieter de Vos and NASCAR just on 4 faults into 15. So still 8 clears so far in this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Inderdaad, 8 deelnemers in de barrage. Ongenoteerd. Wij gaan kijken naar de volgende ruimte. Komt uit Colombia. Het is René Lopez Lizarazo. Daar rijdt de Belgische Ruim Kiros van het hoogeinde. De baan is echt voor van het Spieveld. En dan wachten we maar de Ducko in de afstamming.
René Lopez of Colombia now, and René, veteran of championships from Pan Am.
Well, a Rio Olympian and championship rider. World Championships, Pan American Games. René Lopez of Colombia. René with Keros van Huginde by Echo van Spijveld. René's championship appearances go all the way back to Jerez in 2002. Keros was another horse to jump that Rolex Grand Prix at Le Ball just recently. To unfortunately feature here in the jump off at Rotterdam. Again, the Longines triple combination. And the third rider to have the front rail off the Chio fence since we've come back from the break. As I say, nobody in the first half of the draw had that fence at all. 3 since we've come back. And for each of them, it is the front rail. It's an 8-stride approach from the preceding fence and then coming into that 5-stride distance down to the plank. So 2 down in all for the Colombian Olympian René Lopez and Keros van Huginde.
Keros, totaalscore 8 strafpunten, 10-73-64.
Score of 8 at 73-64 for René Lopez and the combination for Colombia.
Dan, dames en heren, de regerend Nederlands kampioen Marco van der Vleut en O'Bailey van het Brouwerschap. Marco zat natuurlijk ook in het team van Oranje afgelopen vrijdag met de overwinning in de Longines Grand Nations Cup.
Part of the winning team for the Nations Cup here in Rotterdam.
So as René leaves us, we go over to Dutch national champion Michael van der Vleut. Michael, who was the Nations Cup rider on Friday and rode this horse, O'Bailey van het Brouwershof. World number 4, Michael van der Vleuten. He hasn't ever won this Grand Prix, but he has in a way when the Nations Cup Grand Prix of the Netherlands was held at Gisteren in 2019 because the European Championships were to be here at Rotterdam. Michael took victory in that. Michael, in recent weeks, taking the victory also in the Longines Global Champions Tour at Cannes. He is the current series leader of the Longines Global Champions Tour. And rode Beauville the last 2 years running here in Rotterdam as part of that winning Nations Cup team. Great one to get through. The crowd will be right behind. He'd have a late draw as well. You just hear the reaction from the crowd. You could just sense how much they wanted their national champion to be through and part of this jump off. Not to be, unfortunately, that tulip double close to home. Raises its head once again. 4 faults for O'Bailey and Michael van der Vleut.
O'Bailey van het Brouwershof fout op punt 12a. Scoorde dus 4 strafpunten in 75,23.
Also just on the 4, and again the first part of the tulip double. It is 4 at 75.23 for the Dutch champion Michael van der Vleut and O'Bailey.
Dat betekent dat we nog 10 deelnemers hebben en dan aanpassen voor de barrage. De eerste van de 10 komt uit Italië, Alberto Zorzi met Floyd, 13 jaar, finesse kan dan in de afstamming.
Italy now, and Alberto Zorzi, winner of Grand Prix across the globe from Monaco to Berlin and twice at Olympia in London as well. Winner in Italy of the Grand Prix this season, the Globe Mindore, and finishing so well in 2 in recent weeks. Alberto Zorzi of Italy, Floyd.
One of the most successful global champions riders when he was a big part of that tour with many, many podiums. Alberto Zorzi. Alberto, who took victory on the series in Berlin. He was twice winner of the Indoor Grand Prix at the World Cup show at London Olympia. Also won the Grand Prix indoors at Oslo. Alberto here, Albi with Floyd. Good to see Albi with a full complement of horses for all the divisions at the home Nations Cup show at Piazza di Siena. I think couple of years ago, decided to move back home to Italy, base himself there. The second or third time we've had a put rail there. Albie just needs to make sure that the error at the top of the line doesn't carry through and catch him out again at the end of the line. It doesn't. He just has this moment of reset around the corner to try and make sure the last as well. The last goes and time comes into play as well. It's going to be 2 for time. 8 jumping 2 for time for Alberto Zorzi and Floyd.
10 achterstandpunten in de omloop. Ook nog tijdsoversnijding komen de 2 bij. Eindscore 10 in 77-16.
8 jumping 2 time, a total of 10 in all, 77-16 for Italy's Alberto Zorzi and Floyd.
Jongeruiter uit Nederland, Bas Morings. En de KWPN gekeurde hengst Ipstar. John van Denzel van Meulhoff en Farmer. Een paar weken geleden nog 7e in de Grand Prix van de sessie Twente. Wedstrijd die hij trouwens het jaar ervoor wist te winnen.
The 23-year-old from the Netherlands has already a successful record in young riders, having been a part
Bas
of
Morings, a gold medalist at De Volden in the Youth
Morings,
Championships in 2019. Now 23 years old, Bas here riding in the 5-star Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam with Ipstar. Ipstar was recently top 10 in the 4-star Grand Prix of Twente at Gisteren. It was just back at the beginning of the month. Not caught out too badly, but it is just the one rail as they come home there for Ipstar and Bas Morings for the Netherlands.
was op de Hollandse stijlsprong 7. 4 slagpunten, 72,33 voor Bas Morings, Ipstar.
Just on forward, 72-33, 1 down for Bas Morings of the Netherlands and Ipstar into 9th place.
Nog zo'n jong talent uit Nederland. Hij staat inmiddels al op plaats nummer 13 op de Longines Grand Prix. We hebben over Lars Kersten en Hadi Lea. KWPN van de Manny van Cyril Kogu VDL.
A rider who was top 10 here last year in the Rotterdam Nations Cup Grand Prix. That was with Emerton. Riding this year, Halelia, who was 6th in the Dutch Masters Grand Prix at 's-Hertogenbosch. Halelia and Lars Kersten now for the Netherlands. Another youth medalist for the Netherlands, and another rider who we saw also jumping this spring in Florida. Took top 5 in a 5-star Grand Prix this year. Also rode in that World Cup qualifier at Live Oak in Ocala. Sponghoff of the Netherlands, our most recent qualifier through, as clear round number 8, and it will stay as 8. So the double combination as well with the tulip colours proves tricky for Lars, Kirsten and Hilaria. So it is still 8 coming back to us. It's 12 faults for Lars.
Finishing on 12 with 72.02 for Lars, Kirsten and Hilaria for the Netherlands.
Altijd die 8 deelnemers die terugkeren in de barrage. We gaan naar Denemarken met Caroline Rialf-Pedersen en Calvin Holstaarder, zoon van Castellaan en Coleman. Paard heeft een leeftijd van 12 jaar.
21-year-old rider from Denmark made her first senior tier appearance last year in Spain. She's jumped very few 5-stars so far, brilliantly started though.
So Denmark's Nations Cup rider from Friday, Caroline Rialf-Pedersen. Rialf horses Calvin by Castellan.
And it is birthday too for Caroline.
Nations Cup this spring at Bratislava before this major 5-star Nations Cup appearance here in Rotterdam. It's been top 10 in the Nations Cup Grand Prix of both Bratislava and Ugehan this season. And a Youth Championship rider last year for Denmark. So carrying 8 faults, you say this metre-60 week of jumping here between the Nations Cup on Friday, the Longines Grand Prix here today, going to be quite the step up for this pair, and it just comes through in the score we're seeing with quite a bit of jumping still to go. Second part of the double down as well, coming home on 20, and I think, yeah, just going to put the hand up, doesn't want to take that score away on the card, so they will be recorded as retired on course here, just being a little bit beyond their current level, unfortunately, to come home with a respectable score here in this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Spannend, dames en heren. Gaan er nog ruimtes allemaal zal eens bijkomen voor de barrage? Misschien zal het Thijssen, die op geweldige wijze 2 jaar geleden met Konki dan hier de grote prijs op haar naam schreef. Vandaag rijdt ze een ander paard, de 11-jarige Haarder. En die is van een wat te hebben en nummer 1.
Winner of this Grand Prix in 2021 and Mannheim Grand Prix winner this year as well. Madrid Grand Prix previously.
Sana Tyson is our next to go, the young Dutch rider who took victory in this Grand Prix 2 years ago on the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Madrid that same season, and this spring has already won the Nations Cup Grand Prix on the EEF series at Mannheim. So following in the footsteps of Father Leon as a top show jumper, and we've already seen younger brother and sister jumping here as well in this Longines Grand Prix. Quite the achievement for the Tyson family. Be happy enough to have 3 children, and 3 so young, just all in their early 20s, to be riding on the 5-star tour at your home Nations Cup show, let alone to qualify for the Grand Prix on the final day. Sana had to work really hard, and didn't think she was as successful as that, getting high there to come back to her as much as she needed. But they answer the triple combination question. With a metre-60 plank. Three former winners in the class. 1 definitely coming back for the jump-off. 1 definitely not. Sana Tyson is the 3rd and last. Touches that decisive A element of the double, but it stays. The time is okay. The last is okay. Sana Tyson is through as clear round number 9 to try and take back the title she won 2 years ago here in the Kralingse Bos. Sana Tyson and high there. Clear for the Netherlands.
Clear out number 9, Senna Tyson, looking to bring that title back again. Potential second win, we'll see. Senna Tyson clear for the Netherlands with the simply names high there. Coming into our final 5.
Razend populair, dames en heren, Sanne Thijssen. Mooi dat enthousiasme hier in het Rotterdam stadion. We gaan naar Victoria Gulliksen, Noorwegen en Mistral van de Vogelzang. Belgisch gewand van Elvis de Putte en Olympiade-hengst Gulliksen.
Victoria Gulliksen, Mistral van de Vogelzang, Norwegian contender who went very, very well at those Riesenbeck European Championships in 2021. Another contender from Friday's Nations Cup here in Rotterdam. He's a World Cup finalist this spring in Omaha, Nebraska as well. Senior championship appearances going all the way back to 2013. A rider who's just 31 years old. Just going to the voice, saying come back, wait, listen, and that is clear for Norway's Victoria Gulliksen and Mistral van de Vogelzang. It is not the Papa Roach horse that gave her that individual top 10 in the European Championships, but it just shows her ability, her success with so many different horses, that she can be one of just 10 clear rounds here so far in this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Vicky Gulliksen and Mistral van de Vogelzang are clear, and that is 10 coming back to us and only 4 more who could potentially join them.
10 clears with 4 left to go.
10 in de barrage, nog 4 te gaan zoals Steven het zei. De eerste van die 4 is onze landgenoot Erik ten Katen met zijn topper Incredible. Incredible is 10 jaar, stamt af van hengst Clinton en Heartbreaker. 2 tophengsten uit de sport in afstamming.
Appearances already this season in Drammen in Norway.
Another one for the Netherlands. Drammen Nations Cup rider this year, Erik ten Kat, with Incredible. Unfortunately, it is going to be the first down for the pair. Recently in action in the Grand Prix of Twente at Gisteren. Eric, the 10-year-old Clinton horse, Incredible, will mean we stay on 10 clear rounds here in Rotterdam. The Tulip double gives them their 4th down. It is 16 jumping falls for Erik ten Kat and Incredible.
Niet helemaal mee met zijn Incredible. Begon al bij een fout op de eerste hindernis. Uiteindelijk 16 strafpunten in 72,85.
16 the total at 72.85 for Erik ten Kat there of the Netherlands.
Opnieuw een Nederlander aan start met hem gegeven. Vorig jaar nog de kampioen van Nederland. Hij rijdt de goedgekeurde hengst, de Highway MTN. Weer een van de paarden van Team Nijhoff. Hengst is 11 jaar. De vader was Eldorado van de seizoen.
3 times has been on the winning teams for the Netherlands here in Rotterdam. On the team this season as well in Mannheim. Nations Cup final winner previously too, and several top 5s this season as well into Germany. Willem Greve of the
Willem
Netherlands
Greve is our next to go,
Highway
part of the
End.
Dutch team that won the Nations Cup at Mannheim this spring. Nations Cup finalist in 2019 in Barcelona. Going with Highway M by Eldorado van der Zeshoek. Double clear in the Nations Cup here last year as part of the winning Dutch team. Still on the 0 score. We've had quite a few just since the break have the front rail off that Chio fence on its approach the 5-stride distance down to the metre-60 plank, but all still good at the moment for this ever so consistent Dutch Nations Cup rider Willem Greve. Eldorado is such a top horse for him, but doing a nice job here with Highway. And that is clear. That is going to be another one coming back to us, and it's another chance for the Netherlands as well, as they pick up another one of the 11 clear rounds to be for the home side here in the Rotterdam Longines Nations Cup Grand Prix.
And another for the Netherlands, taking us to 6 into their jump-off so far, Willem Greve and Highway, hopefully on the right lines for taking a title this afternoon. So they go through with 2 left to go.
Door naar België, Niels Bruintjels rijdt naar Sika van de Perenboom. Vader Thunder van de Zuidhoeve en dan Randel Z in de afstamming. Paard is Tika.
Olympic rider in Tokyo is a bronze there. European Championships, top 5 of the World Cup finals. Grand Prix wins around the world from Belgium through to Cannes to Doha as well. Niels Bruintjels for Belgium, penultimate combination.
Niels Bruintjels, who was part of the winning Nations Cup team for Belgium this year at Sopot in Poland. He's won 5-star Grand Prix here in the Netherlands at 's-Hertogenbosch. He's won the Brussels Stefex Masters 5-star Grand Prix several times. He's won 5-star Grimaud at Vorigem, at Nokke, and several times on the Longines Global Champions Tour. Probably only the second or third time the whole class that big metre-60 plank at the end of the related distance has been down.
Niels Bruintjels op de EON-hindernis, de plank eraf, de 4 strafpunten stonden daar. En de tijd is toereikend, 73,37.
So Niels Bruintjels with just the single rail, just the single plank, in fact, down for 4 fourths with Nausicaa van der Perreboom. So just one to go, and a rider who's been in red-hot form. Class wins, podiums, top fives in pretty much every five-star class here this week at the Kralingen Shabos. What can she do here as our final rider to go? Will it be 11 or will it be 12 for the jump-off of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam? It's all in the hands now of German Nations Cup rider with her Nations Cup horse from Friday evening. This is In Time, written by Kendra Clarissa Brinkhoff.
Graag herstellen, dank u wel. De plank bij E.ON.
Kendra, who started her career at Marcus Eining's, been riding out of the Steffex stables at Wolvertum in Belgium in 2019. And jumped quite a few EEF Nations Cup series last year on Otto Becker's big team here on Friday for this top-level Nations Cup. Falsterbo, Hickstead, Dublin still to come in the top-tier series before we know who is going to be part of the line-out at the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup Finals in Barcelona in September. Well, 11 it will be, as Kendra has that metre-60 vertical coming down to the tulip double down.
Ja, toch ja, waardering bracht de laatste rit. Jammer van die ene fout, 4 slagpunten in de rit van de Duitse Kendra Clarissa Brinkhoff met In Time. 73-88.
So Kendra brings home our final first round attempt, and it is going to be 11 coming back for the jump off here in the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam for 2023.
Dan zal het een mooie omkoping gaan worden. Met de nummers 1 en 2 van vorig jaar opnieuw in de barrage.
Interesting, actually a smaller jump off than 12 months ago when there were 14 clear rounds that came back.
Even mooie beelden daar op het scherm van Longines.
It ended up being 7 double clears, duking it out for top honours. So Olien Leroy was our first to jump clear. Harry Smulders, Hans-Dieter Dreyer. Kevin Jochems should jump next, then Daniel Coyle, then Karsten Otternagel. Jo Vreeling, Kars Bonhoff, Sanne Tyson, Victoria Gulliksen, Willem Graver are our clears, and Bas Murings and Ibstar ended up being our fastest 4-faulter, holding on to 12th place. There'll be a little bit of prize money for that. Kevin Stout, long time fastest 4, ends up there. But these 4-faulters are going to go right the way down, just divided by time. Leopold van Asten in amongst them, Kendra Clarissa Brinkhoff, who we just saw. Paula Millibiers for Michael van der Vleuten and O'Bailey van het Brouwershof. Unfortunately, not seeing them come back for the jump-off with their 4-faults in 75. All the way down to Ali Sokin in 25th position. And Hilary Scott, Joy Lammers, Harry Allen with 2 down, Julien Gonat, and Valu Denise, the French rider. 10 then with time falls for Albi Zorzi, Lars Kirsten with 3 down, Lorenzo Luke with 3 down, Mark Houtsager and Dante with 3 down. That was a very surprising round in jumping. And then we've got the 13, the 16, the 20, and the 2 who elected to retire, Francois Boudon and Caroline Rehol-Pedersen. But we'll let the team here set the short course and return for the 11 jump-off rounds to come here from Rotterdam. Stay with us.
startkamer. Dus een fris paard, altijd een fit en gezond paard. Zo niet, jullie hebben nog de tijd tot het einde van dit evenement. Dus pak jullie telefoon, scan de QR-code en doe mee. Wie weet maak je een kans op de hoofdprijs of vele andere prijzen. Heel veel succes!
Title partner and official timekeeper of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Longines is proud to support the leading riders once again here to promote excellence in this sport. The long-standing ties between Longines and the equestrian world date back to 1869. And today the brand is involved in many of the most important equestrian events all around the world. On this occasion, particularly proud to present the official watch of the event, a feminine moon phase model from the Longines Master Collection, an emblematic timepiece of the brand and its watchmaking expertise. This refined creation featuring a moon phase indicator perfectly combines watchmaking sophistication and tradition, like those constantly pursuing precision excellence.
Als titelpartner officieel tagwaarneming van de Longines Grand Prix van Rotterdam is Longines er trots op. De beste springruiters mogen ondersteunen bij uitmuntendheid in deze prestigieuze sport stimuleren. Want tussen Longines en passie voor de watersport staan al sinds 1869. Het merk is inmiddels betrokken bij de belangrijkste watersportevenementen ter wereld. Voor deze gelegenheid zijn wij bijzonder trots op officiële horloge van het evenement te mogen presenteren. Een maanfase model uit de Longines Master Collection. Deze elegante creatie, een horloge dat wordt gekenmerkt door het vakmanschap van het merk. Beschikt over een maanfase indicator. Combineert perfectie, elegantie en traditie. Het is een ideale horloge voor hen die constant precisie en uitmuntendheid nastreven. Longines.
Set for the jump off of this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. We're taking a look, of course, up on the screen as well, as you can follow in the arena too. And how does it work? This course is designed by Quentin Martins with Luke Koenigs. It is over fence 1, that's the easy bit, and there's the medial group fence. 1 and 2 remain the same, and the good premier fence 2. Then it starts to change around and roll back then to what's now 15, which is 12 jump in the opposite direction. That's the tulips going the other way around. Then to 6A and B, going to 2 parts of what was the Longines triple combination double this time. They'll move across there, right across the arena. Potential of options here to getting to our next, of course, to fence 8, and that's the CHIO fence with the bushes underneath. And from there, it is a long run to the finish with fence 10, the Vet City.NL fence, and a race down to new fence 16, the Longines vertical, going near the in-gate as the last on course. So 11 going to start, and that is the course. You can see it's a big swing around and a long galloping finish, the decider of this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Dan zien we in de barrage uit Frankrijk Olivier Leroy. Gaat het spits afbijten. Dan de eerste Nederlander al. De man in topvorm, Harry Spolders, de nummer 8 van de Longines ranking. Hele snelle Duitse ruiter, Hans-Dieter Breyer. Vorig jaar nog tweede was op jumping indoor Maastricht. Dan voor Nederland Kevin Jochens, vorig jaar een prachtige tweede plaats. Dat hij nu een ander paard aan de start brengt. Daarna krijgen we de winnaar van vorig jaar uit Ierland, Daniel Coyle. De Duitse ruiter Karsten Antonagel. Dan nog weer een aantal Nederlanders. Jurg Wieding altijd snel in een barrage. Klaas Bonhoff, prachtig dat we die barrage wist te bereiken met Herman ST. En dan de winnares van 2 jaar geleden, Sanne Thijssen. Zij redt een ander paar dan 2 jaar geleden. Daarna nog een snel Amazone uit Noorwegen, Victoria Golissen. En dan de laatste deelnemer. En die komt ook uit Nederland. Ook uit Islanden, TN10L, HWRTN met Willem Geven. Dat zijn de 11 namen in de barrage. Prestigieuze Longines Grand Prix op Rotterdam.
So welcome back to Rotterdam, where the first of 11 combinations are getting ready for the jump off over the shortened course. Quentin Martens and Louis Konix's track in the first round, delivering us 11 clear rounds to come back. We have last year's winner, Daniel Coyle, amongst those 11. We have last year's runner-up, Kevin Jochems, as well. Both with different horses this year. Both jumped double clear, separated just by the time on the clock for first and second last year. We also have Sanne Thijssen, who was the winner 2 years ago, in amongst them. We've got a lot of Dutch riders as well. It is shaping up to be a very, very good competition. Quentin is named as the lead designer this year, but very ably assisted by Louis Konix, who has himself been lead designer here on many occasions at Rotterdam. Between the pair of them, they know this arena inside out. They know what they're trying to deliver on the final day. Our course starts as it was, 1 to 2, the VDL fence over to the green and yellow. Then it is a roll back. Now we're going to jump the water tray oxer that was in the tulip double coming home backwards, so we'll call it number 15, but it was 12A. And then cutting across the ring to the two remaining parts of the triple combination. It's the two-stride verticals, the second one at meter 60, before they then roll across the ring on the right rein to the Chio fence, the CHIO fence with the dark green rails, the trees in underneath, and then left-handed to the top of the ring. He's got two fences set here. He's got number 10, which was the prelude to that final line, but now instead of going across the ring, it comes here right down towards the in-gate to a good big meter 60 Longines watch face vertical. 56 seconds the time allowed, so quite a long jump off track. And here's our first to go, Aurélien Leroy and Croxel de Blagnac. Onto new territory as they jump this. Finding the tightest possible line. Former eventing rider Aurélien Leroy. He was in good shape in the Grand Prix at St. Gallen. He jumps out of that triple combination at about 22 seconds. How deep they go into the corner back to this Bet City NL, that could really be critical in the final analysis. It's double clear. It's 44.26 for our first to go. Aurélien Leroy with his Nations Cup horse from Friday, Croxel de Blagnac. So setting the standard, he'll be in front of anyone who ends up picking up faults in this jump off. Is he laid down though? Has he laid down a time that is fast enough to really put pressure on some of the others? Now we've got some of the real favourites, you would hope, coming forward quite early, so we'll see now whether, for instance, our second to go, Harry Smulders, can really move the paradigm along. Already 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix winners together this season. One of two Dutch riders inside the world's top 10. Former world number 1, Harry Smulders, Ulrikas van der Kattenvenen. Jumped double clear with Monaco here on Friday to help secure that third in a row Nations Cup victory here in Rotterdam for the Dutch side. Say some very, very fast competitors still to come, like Hans-Dieter Dreyer, Vesmel de Coty, Jorv Reeling and Fumicino. Harry has a lot to do here to try and make the difference, to try and lay down a standard that is fast enough so that others might have errors chasing him. Now, just with only 2 tracks on the ground, you can see he is that little bit tighter than Leroy, much tighter than Leroy here as he turns up. 1.5 seconds up on the split time. And look at him storm across the ring here to this geo fence. He jumps it on the angle. Ulrikas just pecks a little bit on landing. Harry picks him right up in the hands. Turn short up to that, unfortunately take it with them. So that means he's going to finish behind Leroy regardless of his time. It's 4 faults in 43.09 for Smulders and Ulrikas van der Kattenvenen.
Splittuin na de dubbel, daar was hij al sneller. Maar ja, een balk in het laatste gedeelte.
He was a 2.5 up and a fence down for Harry Smulders of the Netherlands into second. Aurélien Leroy leads still with a clear of 44.
So a very, very positive round of jumping. Unfortunately, just the maybe the peck on landing over the Chio fence is what caught them out. Was just caught a toe, and then when they turned up short of the Bet City NL in front of the main permanent tribune, there was nothing there to get them over it without faults. So 4 faults for Harry.
Rider and many times Grand Prix winner in recent times since being second in Wiesbaden in the Grand Prix and winner in Cannes in France as well. Hans-Dieter Dreyer for Germany.
So Hans-Dieter Dreyer. Vesmel de Coty said if he can stay clear, this could be a time that could last. Even as only third, and he's not going to be clear. He has the first down. So Aurélien Leroy will finish top 10 guaranteed. He's the leader after 3. Vesmel and Hansi have another down. You can see how his policy just changes. He goes out wide on his approach. He's going to be 22 or 23 seconds coming out of that. So a real shame. It could have been such a challenge there to the rest to come, but Hans-Dieter Dreher's opportunity goes through his fingers here for the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam with 2 early rails down on course here in the jump-off. So Aurélien Leroy, Croxel de Blagnac is still our leader, our only double clear after 3 of 11.
Still leading on 44.26.
Schimmelhengste Casillas van der Helle is een zoon van de wereldbonde Kazal in het zadel. De man die hier vorig jaar tweede werd.
So the next 2 riders were second and first here 12 months ago. With Casillas van der Helle, Kevin Jochems. If you watched the first round, you might have thought, well, Kevin jumped after Daniel Coyle and Carsten Otternagel. He did, but he had been moved down. He was drawn to go before those riders, and having been allowed to move down because he needed the farrier, having jumped clear, he has to go back to his drawn order position. So that is why he comes 4th and not 6th. Kevin knows exactly what it takes to win one of these prestigious Longines Nations Cup 5-star Grand Prix, having won Hickstead and Dublin almost back-to-back with Captain Cooper. That's a real good balancing act there, because around the corner he was as fast as he dared, and then he sat up. He really got the horse to listen. He just dared a little bit. 1.8 seconds up on Leroy. So very similar to Harry Smulders at the same time, but I thought he was going to take the temperature out of it, actually. I think he kept going to try and see what a very fast 4 might be worth in the final analysis, but he has the Chio fence as well, so it's 8 falls. So Leroy has made being first count for him. His double clear is unmatched by anyone else so far as they try and achieve that score, but try and go considerably faster, because the rest of these riders, certainly the ones with a chance, they know that if they can go clear, then they can really put the pressure on others trying to go fast. They can really put the pressure on others trying to take them and overtake them.
Winner in the USA this year in the Nations Cup Grand Prix there in Wellington. Winner here last year, defending the title now with Ariel Grange's...
defending the title with another horse this year. This is Legacy, the Chippendale bred owned by Ariel Grange, for the rider ranked inside the world's top 20 for Ireland. Daniel Coyle, Nations Cup rider here on Friday. 5-star Nations Cup Grand Prix winner on multiple occasions, both sides of the Atlantic. Daniel was a World Cup finalist this spring off the back of another excellent season on the North American League. Oy. Inside the Dura Vermeer and the defender, just getting through that little gap. 2.14 seconds up. Oh, he was so close there. You could see the wind from his boot move the flag on the right-hand side of that fence. All out to the last. If it stays standing, has he got the Grand Prix already? Daniel Coyle, 3 3/4 seconds up on Aurélien Leroy, but more importantly was that 2.2 seconds up at the split from finding that line between number 2, the Dura Vermeer, and the spare wheel on the back of the defender. There's very little room there. I think if his horse had had a second breakfast this morning, he might not have fitted through.
Here in Rotterdam goes clear, 40.47, 3 seconds clear of the rest, lays it down. Daniel Coyle squeezes between the defender and the fence. That is some line on Legacy to lead.
Dat gaan spannende minuten worden voor Daniel Coyle, dames en heren. Want we hebben al een topdeelnemersveld.
I just look at that adjustability. So far over to the right-hand side, coming out of the triple combination as well, to shorten his line up where he wanted to go next. So the last of the qualifiers for the jump-off from the first half of the draw. Carsten Otternagel, Carsten and GK Curaçao. Well, riders now have to make a real choice, because are they trying to beat Leroy or are they trying to beat Coyle? Outside the Dura Vermeer, look at that split time, 19.81. And you just see on that shot there as well how little room there is. Nagel has the back of the CHIO fence down. Coyle still leads for Ireland here in Rotterdam. He was never going to overtake him on time, but I just wondered if he had just thought in his mind, if I can get in front of Leroy, how valuable might that be in the final analysis? But Castagnotto, Nagel, GK Curaçao have the 4 faults, so there's 2 double clears leading the way. Daniel Coyle for Ireland, and it is then Aurélien Leroy in second for France. 40.47 seconds, that leading time.
Hier is Jur Vriending.
5 left to go on the winning team here for the Nations Cup earlier on this week on the silver medal winning team and the World Championships.
So Jur and Fumicino, world silver medalists last year. Jur on the winning Nations Cup team here on Friday. He was having a look at the line, the approach to the triple combination, and he's got a very fast horse in Fumicino, but is he thinking about that same gap that Daniel Coyle, or is he just going to try and ride gung-ho everywhere and use Fumicino's natural foot speed to go outside that Dura Vermeer? Well, he's not done anything ridiculously tight here. He's following Coyle through the gap. 19.81 the split time. He's not there. He's closer than I thought, though. 0.1 of a second in it. I actually thought the clock had gone for him quite a bit earlier. Balance, he's really leaning in on this turn, and it goes. Just comes up a little bit close into the front. And Jur Vriending and Fumicino van der Kalevalai will be another combination on 4 faults with us here. So 3rd place behind the 2 double clears. Jur's 42.40 is still very nearly 2 full seconds slower than Daniel Coyle.
42.40 into 3rd for Jur Vriending.
KWP goedgekeurde nekkerste en dan is de Enzo van Canaan nummer 1 met alweer een Nederlander in het zadel.
Fumicino doesn't blink twice about going through that wee gap.
First to 4 now, 3 for the Netherlands, 1 for Norway. Koos Bonhoff and his Nations Cup ride from Prague last year, and solid performer in France. Still the target, 40.47, Daniel Coyle.
So one of the EEF horse and rider combinations, EEF Nations Cup Series for the Netherlands, Koos Bonhoff and the Team Nijhoff horse Hernandez by Cannon. Koos had such a foot perfect round. He is going to go outside the Dura Vermeer, so again you just see that perhaps, you know, those 2 competitions, which of the double clears are you trying to beat? Are you trying to beat Leroy? Are you trying to beat Coyle? If you go outside number 2, I think you're only trying to beat Leroy. Let's remind ourselves of that time as well. 44.26 is Aurélien Leroy in 2nd place. This is going to be behind that, unfortunately, but it should be double clear. It's the first double clear for a Dutch rider. Goes into 3rd place.
Partnership afloos 47-92, Koos en dan is de en naar een hele fraaie 3e plaats.
Very good result as they go into
So 3rd place, but it is still Daniel Coyle and Legacy who lead in 40.47 seconds. Are they about to make it back-to-back victories here?
Nog 3 te gaan, zoals Steve al zei, dames en heren. Het eerste paard wat binnen is van die 3 is Harder. Zo'n man wat we hebben met Amazon die het 2 jaar geleden wist te winnen. Eens kijken of zij nog veel fans heeft. Hier is Sanne Thijssen.
The last time there was a back-to-back winner was Ludger Beerbaum in 92-93. Grand Plaisir and Rush On. Sanne Thijssen and high there. Sanne looking for her 2nd victory in this Grand Prix, having won the 2021 edition. She rides high there. Doesn't put too much curl or bend on the first, but she does a great run up to the 2nd. So brave and positive, but is she going to go for this inside line? Yes, but it's not smooth. And I think you've just got to have everything on your side. You can't afford. She's 0.12 down when Vreeling was 0.12 up. And the Chio goes. So this had to have been one of Daniel Coyle's biggest threats. And unfortunately goes by the wayside on 4 faults. 41.69 with the 4 faults. If she'd been able to bring that time home, she'd have been in a comfortable second place, and she was there or thereabouts at the split time with Coyle. If she'd been staying clear, who knows what she might have done. And even with the horse just wondering quite what was going on through that gap behind the defender, only 0.12 of a second down. Just see it here, jumps the flowers, wonders if that's the question Sanne is asking.
2 left to go, Norway and the Netherlands. She was top 10 in the European Championships, and with a super round on the 11-year-old Mistral is the penultimate combination to go. The last year's winner still leads. Norway are the penultimate ones to go now. Mistral with Victoria Gulliksen.
Mistral and Victoria Gulliksen, 10th of 11 to see for the Norwegian Championship rider. Championship experience going back to 2013 as just a 21-year-old, fresh out of young riders right the way through to the most recent Europeans and World Championships. So Vicky looking for the double clear, looking to be competitive on her double clear as well. Let's not forget that a fast clear could easily go into second place and end up on our eventual podium. The Bet City NL's unfortunately gone. So 44.24. If Vicky Gulliksen had come home on that time, she'd have been 200ths faster than Loire and would have gone into second. 4 faults, though, puts her in 7th position.
Just on forward, 44.27 into 7th place, Victoria Gulliksen and Mistral.
KWPN gekeurd, HWMTN, zoon van Eldorado van de zeshoek en de laatste deelnemer in de barrage. De laatste deelnemer uit Nederland. Dames en heren, fans, hier is Willem Geven.
Many times Grand Prix winner, Nations Cup final rider.
So have the Dutch save the very best.
In Rotterdam. The last out, Daniel Coyle leads. Does he defend his title? Or will it go to the last to go for the Netherlands?
So often helped deliver success for the Dutch Nations Cup team, including here at Rotterdam last year. Willem with Highway MTN. Horse owned by Team Nijhoff, just like Hernandez that we saw for Kars Bonhoff earlier on in the jump-off. He has to get through the gap. He has to be in front of Coyle at the split, because I don't think there's much catching up to be done in the ladder section of the course. And if he doesn't go through the gap, this is already Coyle's. He puts himself well over to the left-hand side. That gave him the space to make that turn nicely. 19.81 to beat through here. He is nearly a full second up, 0.9 up. Good turn here, back to the Bet City. The horse lurches at it a little bit, but he's there. He's still got time in hand as he comes down to the Longines. My goodness, have they done it? They have. Nearly 1 full second. He was 0.87 up at the split. He's 0.9 up in the final analysis. What a consistent speed held all the way around by Willem Greb and Highway. The Netherlands take back their home Nations Cup Grand Prix. And Daniel Coyle has denied the opportunity to be the first back-to-back winner since Ludger Beerbaum did it in 92-93. Could have been 30 years since that feat was accomplished here in Rotterdam, but wasn't to be for Daniel Coyle. So Sanne Thijssen winner 2 years ago, Daniel Coyle winner last year, and now they are followed on the roll of honour for the first time in his career by Dutch Nations Cup hero Willem Greve and Highway MTN, the winners of the Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam, taking that same inside line, 0.87 of a second up there as they came out of the triple combination as was, and holding on for an eventual 0.9 of a second advantage over second place Daniel Coyle. Aurélien Leroy, top 10 in St. Gallen, is going to take third place here. Kars Bonhoff will be fourth with a double clear, and Sanne Thijssen, the winner 2 years ago, will take fifth with the fastest 4-faulter with High there. So there is the top five, followed by Joer Vreeling and Fumicino van der Kalevalai, 4 faults in 42.40. You see a time that would have been worth third place had he been clear, but so close. A great 11-horse jump off down the way to Hans-Dieter Dreyer through Kevin Jochems, Karsten Otternagel, Vicky Gulliksen and Harry Smolders, and Bas Moorings and Ipstar taking that 12th spot with the fastest 4 faults in the first round. So a fantastic home victory here, as it was on Friday in the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup for the Netherlands, and Willem Greve is the man who gets to put his name on the roll of honour here that dates back to 1937 of the history of the Longines Grand Prix of the Netherlands of Rotterdam, and Willem Greve taking the victory. As I say, more Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup action coming up this summer with Falsterbo in Sweden, Hickstead in Great Britain, the Royal International Horse Show, and the Dublin Horse Show from the RDS coming up from the top tier of Europe Div 1. And again, to see which Europe Div 1 teams will make it through to the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup finals in Barcelona in September. And we hope you'll join us for all of that summer action here, wherever you pick up your FEI TV, Clip My Horse and Longines FEI Jumping action. But from all of us here in Rotterdam, we will leave you with imagery of the prize giving and awards to come. Bert de Ruyter and Stephen Wild, the arena moderators, will talk us through that. And congratulations to our podium of the Netherlands, Willem Greve, Ireland's Daniel Coyle in second, and Aurélien Leroy and Croxel de Blagnac for France taking third. So thanks so much for being with us, and we'll wish you a goodbye for now and talk to you again in the very near future.
Wat een geweldige editie, dames en heren, van het CHO Rotterdam. De 74ste editie op weg naar het jubileum. 75 maal CHO Rotterdam. Wat een succes voor het Nederlandse team. Afgelopen vrijdag in de Longines FEI Nations Cup, waar het team van Oranje de winst binnen haalde. En wat is dit dan een ontknoping in de Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. In die laatste rit, de gedroomde winnaar Willem Greve. Mooier kan het niet. Een sensationele rit van Willem Greve. We gaan ze zo dadelijk binnenvragen. De hoogste plaatste in deze Grand Prix. Topsport hier in Rotterdam. En noteer het alvast. Jubileum 75 jaar CHO Rotterdam. Volgend jaar van 20 tot en met 23 juni. Nogmaals proficiat aan de eigenaren van Highway. Team Nijhoff uit Geesteren in Gelderland. Fantastisch die rit van Willem Greve. Dacht even, de winnaar van vorig jaar die gaat ook dit jaar winnen. Maar in die laatste rit een sensationele tijd. Goed, ze zijn druk bezig om alles in orde te brengen voor de laatste ceremonie protocolaire. Leden van het protocol, dames en heren, nemen hun plaats in. Prijzen zullen aanstonds worden uitgereikt door Judith Benne, brandmanager Longines Nederland. De heer Caroline Fougli, FIR board member. De heer Ahmed Abu Taleb, burgemeester van Rotterdam. Namens het havenbedrijf Rotterdam, CEO Allard Kastelein en de voorzitter van het CAO Rotterdam, Theo de Rooij, zullen de prijzen gaan overhandigen. Tot de laatste rit toe. Spanning, spanning in de wedstrijd. Er ging binnendoor voor de auto langs daar. Op weg naar die dubbel en nam alle risico. En ik denk dat hij daar de tijdwinst heeft behaald. En een eindspurt naar de laatste. Alles op alles gezet. Wat een vakman. Willem Greven. Mooi.
Fantastic finishing. It's so close to our Daniel Cole nearly defending his title. The last to defend the title here was Luca Bilbao back in the early 90s, but not quite to be. And just beaten in the final throws there with the last to go, Willem Greve and Highway MTN for Team Nijhoff. And sees the Dutch taking both the Nations Cup and the Grand Prix here this week in Rotterdam. The 74th anniversary, as we say, is 75th anniversary. The big one coming up next year. New logos, new celebrations, all of that to look forward to, and that build-up already begins now as we come close to completing this edition of the Rotterdam event. That's such a huge part of the history of show jumping and its development over the last, in this case, 74 years. Moments away from the presentation of our top group of riders. A spectacular finish and some real daring do as the final few complete. And our presentation party having made their way out as well, and joined by Elias Kastelian, CEO of Rotterdam, of the harbour there, Judith Mennen, brand manager of Longines Netherlands, joined by Caroline Fougli of the FEI, Theodore of CHIO Rotterdam, and Ahmed Abdulev, the Burgermeister of Rotterdam, as well as part of our lineup. So all in position and just about to head down the tunnel. Of course, they're getting all those TV interviews as well. That all comes with the package of winning one of the major Grand Prix here in Europe. And a fabulous day, I'd like to say, to watch the very best in action here in Rotterdam. But make sure you're with us this time next year as well for that 75th anniversary edition of this terrific event. Of course, we had dressage as well with France taking home the dressage title for the very first time here in Rotterdam as well, and those wonderful successes for French rider Morgan Barbasson through the Grand Prix and the freestyle. But dancing into the top spot of this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam is Willem Greve, who's had a wonderful success rate here in this venue before now, and adds the win into that Grand Prix as a conclusion.
5 prachtige dagen in het Kralingse Bos. Frankrijk dus, winnaar van de landenwedstrijd bij de dressuur. Gisteravond de ontknopping bij de dressuur. We hebben een hele mooie show van de beste vierspannen van de wereld gezien de afgelopen dagen. Gewonnen door Koos de Ronde. Hij versloeg de wereldkampioen Bart Excel. Nou, de Longines Nations Cup was fenomenaal afgelopen vrijdag. Wat een grote prijs. Deelnemers zijn in aantocht. Zo dadelijk de prijsuitreiking. Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Ladies and gentlemen, we declare in 39:57. Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Clear, time 39:57. Representing the Netherlands with Highway TN, the one and only winner today. Let's hear you for Willem Geven. Een plechtig moment. De nationale driekleur zal ten top worden gehesen. Dames en heren, voor zover u nog niet stond, verzoek u allen te gaan staan. Please all rise for the national anthem of the Netherlands.
And Highway TN.
Dan zal Judith Benne, brandmanager Longines Nederland, naar voren treden. Het prachtige Longines horloge uit te reiken aan de ruiter uit Markelo, Willem Geven. Dit is weer een hoogtepunt in het geweldige seizoen van Willem Geven. Geweldige jaren die hij al achter de rug heeft in de internationale springsport. Vorig jaar nog kampioen van Nederland. Met Highway won hij in eind december in Mechelen de grote prijs. Naar voren treedt de heer Caroline Fugli, FIR boardmember namens de Fédération Équestre Internationale. De hulde voor de winnaar. Theo de Rooij, voorzitter CAO Rotterdam, treedt naar voren. Bloemen in de hand voor Willem Geven. De burgemeester van Rotterdam, ook in ons midden, de heer Abu Taleb, zal de prijs van de stad Rotterdam gaan uitreiken aan Willem Geven. Daar is Ahmed Abu Taleb, burgemeester van Rotterdam, met die prachtige erenprijs. Prijs van de stad Rotterdam. Mooi moment. Gelukwensen van de burgemeester. Nu zag die reactie van Highway. Normaal krijgen die paarden afloop nog eens een worteltje op een schaal uitgereikt. Highway dacht daar heel even aan. De prijs van de Rotterdamse haven. Overhandigd door Allard Kastelein, CEO havenbedrijf Rotterdam. Even een fotomoment, dames en heren. Wat een ontknoping in deze Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam.
Photos with the winning combination, and what a finish to this Longines Grand Prix of Rotterdam. Moving on to the combination second, he set the standard in that jump off and just finally just taken by the final rider. What a ride for the world number 19, Daniel Coyle of Ireland, and Legacy in second.
Et maintenant, troisième pour la France, mesdames et messieurs, Aurélien Leroy. Bravo.
Fourth place goes to the Netherlands, and another terrific performance, one of their best so far. Carlos Bonhoff and Hernandez TN for Team Nijhoff also for the Netherlands in fourth.
op plaats nummer 5 met haar der voor Nederland Sanne Thijssen.
Sixth place to another exciting combination for the Netherlands. Again, up in top 6. Yearveling in 6 with Fiumicino. Well, I'll have a very quick chat with, I'll try and get near him, Willem Grever. Willem, I'm going to hand you up the mic and just talk us through that, because that was very special.
I like to do Dutch. Soms heb je dromen. En dromen om een klassieker in het eigen land te kunnen winnen is een van onze dromen van ons allemaal. En om dat op zo'n mooi concours te mogen doen met zo'n fantastisch paard. Met de eigenaren, familie Nijhoff die hier zijn. Met het team van mensen achter mij. En met een geweldig paard wat alles voor me doet. Dan is dit een dag om nooit te vergeten. Dank u wel.
Prachtige woorden van Willem Greven en Highway TN. Dames en heren, Dennis Donneweer, de ringmeester, geeft het sein. We gaan er een feest van maken.
Second place to Daniel Coyle of Ireland. Third place to France, Aurélien Leroy. Fourth to the Netherlands, Kars Bonhoff Hernandez. Fifth, Sanne Thijssen. And sixth place going to Yearveling of the Netherlands, Fiumicino, the top 6 in this year's Rotterdam Longines Grand Prix.
Maar de winnaar nog één keer en dan een tikkeltje luider. Let's hear you once again.
We zijn er weer bij en dat is prima. Viva Hollandia. We houden van het leven, de liefde en de lust.
Dames en heren, Viva Hollandia. Volgend jaar 75e editie van 20 tot en met 23 juni 2024. Dank.